Good morning. Non-dairy vanilla sweet cream cold brew. What's good with y'all? I don't want to waste y'all's time today. I want to get right into this. This is about the DJI Pocket 3. It's about color grading and getting the best look out of your Pocket 3. Real quick, let's start off with my settings. I'm actually going to list them on the screen, but I shoot 4K, 24 frames per second if I'm trying to shoot regular. If I want slow motion, I shoot 60 or 120s. I prefer to shoot D-Log 10-bit because you get the most out of it, but I did shoot a clip in here with the normal color just to color grade it with you all and show you how to get it to a good point. This video might be long, but throughout it, you probably will pick up at least one gem in this video about color grading the DJI Pocket 3 footage. All right, so here we are. We got a bunch of different footage. We got some ocean footage, we got some low light footage, and then we got this normal color 10-bit footage. This is not D-Log, and I'm gonna show you how I would color this down. I've already got colors on all this stuff because I did create a LUT pack, and that should be down in the description right now that you can pick up. These are specifically designed from me. Some of these colors right here that you see, I made these specifically on the Pocket 3 colors. They look really good in my opinion, and if you're looking for colors to just slap onto your footage that look good, these might be it. So check that link out down below. Let's go through all these different clips and color grade together. All right, so here we got a D-Log footage of my son on the ocean. It's a misty, foggy day, so it's like really gray day, but there's still some color in like the sand, these signs back here, his skin tone, the ocean. Now, I like to color grade from scratch a lot of times, but recently on this DJI Pocket 3 footage, I've been liking to use the conversion LUT from DJI that they have on their website. So what it'll do is bring back the contrast and saturation in a scientific way based on DJI's Kodak and colors for this camera. All you honestly have to do is type in DJI Pocket 3 conversion LUT in Google, and the first thing that pops up is this D-Log M to Rec 709 LUT on DJI's website. You just click on this cube file to download it for Mac or Windows based on whatever you have. I'm personally going to be using Color Finale Pro to color grade this footage for this tutorial specifically, but every video editing program has a way to import LUTs, and you can do all these same things within any video editing program based on those specific tools in those programs like Adobe, DaVinci, etc. So we got the Color Finale Pro on here. I'm going to hit show, and then color management right here at the top. Basically, it allows you to add in a LUT or assume log, which it'll do its own little conversion to Rec 709 through Color Finale, or you can do input LUT and you can choose the specific DJI one, which is what I'm gonna do because I want it to be matching DJI Pocket 3 based on DJI's scientific conversion. Okay, so I've applied the DJI Pocket 3 conversion LUT back to Rec 709. If I take this off, you can see it's just a little bit different. It's not that big of a deal on this footage. This footage may have been overexposed just a little bit. It brings it back a little bit. It gives it a little contrast, gives it some saturation. We're definitely going to dive in deeper though. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the layers and I'm going to add some layers. I'm going to start digging in and bringing some contrast back in. So I'm going to click these three wheels so I can have my darks, my mids, and my highlights, or my blacks, my mids, my highlights, or whites. I'm also pulling up this waveform so I can see where my blacks and my whites are. So I'm just start adding some black in here. So I'm gonna bring it down to about that line. I got this line set right here for about 3, so it doesn't go all the way to 0. That's just kind of my reference point. I'm gonna boost these whites up. I might blow out some of the highlights in the background, but I'm cool with that because I want it to be a nice popping bright color personally. Keep those blacks right around that 3. I'm gonna bring down these midtones. Honestly, already right there is good. This looks like normal, so I'll take it off, add it back. This looks good if you're just going for like bringing it back to regular. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a curves. I'm gonna just make some points here. I'm gonna do one in the middle, I'm gonna do one in this upper section, and then one in this lower section. I'm gonna start bringing these down a little bit just to get a little bit more darkness. Bring this middle section up a little bit, bring this section up a little bit, maybe even pop this a little bit more. And I'm gonna bring these whites down to make them a little flatter and gray. This is looking kind of crazy. I'm gonna bring this up a little bit just to soften it back up a little bit. Even come back here and bring the blacks up just a little bit more. All right, next I'm gonna add a HSL curve so I can start playing with some colors. First of all, hue versus hue. I'm gonna click this right here just to get points everywhere on my HSL line. Same thing with the hue versus saturation. Hue versus hue is gonna be where you manipulate your colors, and then hue versus saturation is going to be where you saturate your colors or desaturate your colors. So off the rip, I want to go to hue versus saturation. I want to take down some of the skin tones because they were just popping way too hard for me. So I'm gonna bring that down right there. Also gonna see what this does right here. I kind of want to bring those skin tones down a little bit. They look pretty good right there. Now in the ocean, I like the ocean to look nice and blue. Obviously it's very aqua blue where I was at, but the camera did not show the aqua blue that much. So I'm gonna take and tweak these colors a little bit. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit too. This color, this yellow for the sand. I want that sand to be a little bit more desaturated. Now I'm gonna come back over here to the hue versus hue and I'm gonna start tweaking around. So this right here affects the skin tone and the sand. So I want it to be a little bit red. Bring that down just a little bit. This right here I'm gonna play with to bring up that ocean and the sand a little bit to the yellow side. Then this right here is where I can tweak those colors in the ocean. You can see that right there. I'm gonna lift it up a little bit just to bring it to the aqua side. This blue right here is gonna affect that background in the sky. I wanna bring that towards the green a little bit. I'm gonna bring this one down a little bit. This, you can see I'm tweaking that background blue. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit as well. This down a little bit. These purples. You see the purples are affecting his shirt. So I'm gonna go back to the hue versus saturation. I'm gonna bring this down. I don't want his shirt to be pink like that. I want that to be down. I'm gonna bring this pink side down. I don't want that shirt to be like that. Also gonna bring this point down a little bit as well. As far as the blues go, I wanna pop those up a little bit. I want the blues to pop off. So I'm gonna bring those blues up a little bit. Bring the green down a little bit. Just right there. Let me tweak this up a little bit so we can actually see what I'm affecting as well. Added a conversion LUT, added a color wheels, added a curves and an HSL of curves. And then you take that off and add it back on. We already got a nice looking image right here. That's pretty much how you color grade DJI Pocket footage for this clip anyways. There's so many different scenarios that you can color grade. So it's just like learning the basic fundamentals of bringing back the contrast, bringing back the saturation, and then playing around with your colors. There's so much more we could do though. I'm gonna add some more stuff in here. So I added on a 6 vectors where you can basically click these colors and you can tweak them as well. So this yellow, you can see affects all that. Let's mess around with that for a second. Bring that sand to like a more warm space. Let's see what these aquas affect, that background. Now, honestly, we could go for that blue or this blue. I think I want to go this way. So for that shirt, I don't like that pink. So I'm going to bring those blues over here, right there. These greens need to be tweaked over to the left. You can see the ocean is going back from that green to that aqua. Now skin tone, I don't want him to be too red. I'm gonna bring it to the orange side a little bit and I'm gonna bring down the saturation of it a little bit more. I think that looks pretty good. Like we're going extra OD right now. I'm gonna come back to this color wheels and I'm gonna bring these blacks up just a little bit. I'm coming back to this curves because I want to bring this up a little bit and then maybe bring another point in right here. Bring this up, bring this up. Let's bring that up a little bit more. Bring this back down just a tad bit. I want to pop this white a little bit more and make it like a really flat, soft look. You can even bring these whites down a little bit more to make them gray, or you can pop them like that, bring them back down, bring them up and then bring them back down. And you can see how it affects the image. It makes it like a flat. I'm going to bring it flatter a little bit. Right here, I'm gonna bring this down a little bit. So let's just look at how this even looks. It's a little bit too bright. So all these whites are just kind of blending together right now. I don't really like the way that looks. So let me come back to this layers right here. Let's take this off. On. Yeah, way too popped off. So let's bring that back down. Bring this down a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. And let's lift these back up. And I feel like that might be better right there. Definitely. There we go. That looks good. That's clean. That's very clean. So I'm gonna come back in. I added another color wheels and now I'm gonna get really specific with adding colors into like the whites or highlights, the midtones, and even the blacks and darks. So I'm gonna try to make these highlights a little bit warmer, just like that, and play around and see where I can go with these midtones. Let's see, I don't wanna go too blue, but just a little bit. And then with these blacks, let's see where I wanna go with this. Let's see, I kind of like the pink tone. So if I take that off, you see what it's done. Boom. I'm gonna bring these blues down just a little bit more in the midtones and pump the warmth into the highlights again. It's very subtle, but it looks cool. It adds. But this is just and the ocean looks good too. It looks aqua out there. It's not as green anymore. This looks clean. It's flat, it's clean. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna hit C to copy this and I'm gonna bring it over here to this other clip, which this is another color grade I did. This is actually in the LUT pack that I created. So let's take that off. Let's disable that, and there's the flat footage. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paste color finale onto this. And there's the color grade that we have from the first clip. So from there to there, and they cut together pretty well. This looks good. You take this off and back on, this looks good. Sometimes you'll have to make tweaks depending on the white balance and exposure, but this actually blends in pretty well. This looks good. This is a good LUT right here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and export this specific LUT right here out and give it to you for free with the link down below. Free Pocket 3 LUT by CR. That's for y'all. All right, I'm gonna move on to that next clip, but do you hear that music in the background? That's from Artlist. I've been using Artlist on and off going on a decade now for music in these videos. And right now it's probably the best that they've ever been. They just dropped a crazy new tool, and ironically, it's called Tools. It includes some wildly helpful stuff. If you're using Premiere Pro, you can now use the Artlist library extension, browsing music, sound effects, and even AI voiceovers right inside of Premiere Pro. They also have an AI assistant for stuff like this. You can remove all silences in your timeline if you're making a talking head video, interview, or a YouTube video just like this. This feature's crazy if you want to speed up your editing workflow. Also, 50+ professional plugins are included that are compatible with every major editing software. This is my favorite effect right here. Let me show you how it looks. Blurry edges all the way around. This looks tight. Honestly, Artlist is my all-in-one favorite place for high quality creative assets right now, and that's just facts. It covers me with the proper licensing. I love their music. I love their sound effects even more, and I personally have the Max Pro Raw account, so I can get incredible stock footage if I need it. I wish I still used Premiere Pro, because the fact that you can go in here and use this extension to get music or sound effects and being able to differentiate it by genre or BPM and all these things is awesome. Go ahead and use my link down below to join me over at Artlist and start getting high quality assets. I promise you will not be let down. All right, let's move on to the next clip with this DJI Osmo Pocket 3 color grading. Okay, next I have this clip right here where I've already made a LUT. That LUT right there, that's in the Pocket 3 LUT pack that I made. And then also have this other color grade that I designed on this clip, which I like this one a lot. I just love the way the tones and the blues and the reds are and the orange on the T. If you take it off, add it, looks so good. Let's color grade this from scratch though. Once again, I'm gonna add a Color Finale Pro on here. I'm gonna bring in that DJI Pocket 3 conversion LUT. Boom, there you have it. So let's take that off. You can see it's flat. Add the conversion LUT, boom, it helps out a little bit. Let's get started. Actually, let me get some coffee real quick. Whew. I hope that first color grading session on that first clip was helpful. There's a lot of kind of all over the place. I'm kind of color grading from scratch. I don't have like a script or a plan right now. We're just free for all coloring, and I hope that some of these techniques that I'm using to color grade these clips can help you in some type of way when you are color grading your Pocket 3 footage down, or any footage in general. It's kind of all the same with any camera, and this is probably obvious, but if it's not, more expensive cameras with better dynamic range and Kodak is going to be much easier to color grade and tweak colors and do certain things with your exposure. It's kind of a little bit harder when you have smaller cameras or the dynamic range is not as good as like a more expensive camera. But for the price of this DJI Pocket 3 and the way that the log is, it does color down pretty good. I'm having a fun time coloring footage with it. I also wanted to jump back in here and mention color grading is very subjective. There's no right or wrong way for you to do it. The purpose or the reason for you to shoot in log is so that you can do whatever you want with your footage. Some people color very contrasty, some are very faded, some are very light, some are very intense. People color grade in all different types of ways. So don't feel like you have to color grade a certain way. This is for you to determine, and that's why you're shooting in log. I think that might lift a boulder off some people's shoulders. All right, let's jump into this. We got the conversion LUT on. I'm gonna add off the rip a color wheels. I'm gonna bring this up so I can see where my blacks are sitting at. My blacks are already down at the 3. I'm not even gonna touch the blacks. I'm gonna just bring midtones down. This is again another foggy day. Honestly, right there looks good. I'm actually gonna lift my blacks a little bit because over here you can see it's touching that 0 line. Well, it was touching it. It's lifted just a slight bit now. I'm gonna go one more. Basically what I'm doing too is holding my mouse over top of these little cursors and scrolling my scroll wheel on my mouse up one so I can do it notch by notch. It just makes it more precise and easy. So that looks pretty good. I might blow the whites out a little bit more, bring the midtones down some more, make it nice and dark and moody, lift the blacks a little bit or crush them a little bit. Nah, that's pretty good right there. I'm gonna tweak some colors though. I'm gonna add a 6 vectors in here. I'm gonna see what's up with these reds real quick. I like taking my reds to the orange side sometimes, but then I like going to the red sometimes as well. Let's go red. Let's bring this down, bring it back up. Let's pop it a little bit. Let's pop it off. All right, we got that blue right there. Let's tweak those blues a little bit. Which way we want to go? Which way we want to go with the blues? We want to go more aqua blue. Let's go aqua blue. That looks good. Click these aquas. Let's tweak these a little bit. Let's see which one we're gonna go. little bit aqua again. Purples, do we have purples in here? Oh, it's just affecting the Kung Fu sign up there. So yeah, we got to tweak that. We want that to look right. We want every part of the image or video to look right. So I'm going to bring that to more of a reddish, not so much like the magenta. I want to bring that this way and make it pop red. Bring the saturation out, add the saturation. And let's pop the saturation a little bit. All right, yellow. I think this is gonna tweak. Yeah, it's gonna tweak the majority of things. I'm really looking at these bokeh out lights back here when I'm color grading right here. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm gonna bring it to the more orangish reddish side. So instead of this greenish yellow, I want it to be more orangish red. So let's bring it there. Looking good, very vibrant right now. Come to these greens. Is there any green in here? Not at all. I don't see any. Blues, take that out, pop them. Let's pop it up a little bit right there. So take this off, add it back on. This looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna add a curves in here. Let's drop a middle point on all of these just because I wanna tweak them around a little bit and see what's going on. I'm gonna punch these whites up a little bit, bring these down a little bit on the dark side, bring a little bit more white up here into the pot, and I'm gonna make this a little bit gray. Bring these whites to a little gray point. Now I'm just gonna play around right here. Let's start with green. Let's see. Oh, this is kind of cool. I kind of like that. Just a slight effect though. Let's see what this does on this side. No, we're not gonna mess with that side. See what blue looks like on these highlights. Nah. Reds. Ooh. Add some of those blues kinda into those. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Then we can bring this middle right here up a little bit or down. No, let's bring it up just a tad bit like that. Take that off, add it back on. That's pretty cool. All right, let's close that out, see what we got here. I mean, that looks pretty cool. It's kind of blown out a little bit. It's kind of like a very contrasty look. If we come back here, take it off, add it on. It's definitely contrasty. The blacks are black. These whites are kind of popping. But what I could do and what I want to do, I'm gonna click into this contrast. I'm gonna use my scroll wheel to go up and down. So let's see. I'm gonna just bring out a little bit of the contrast. So like a -4 maybe. And let's play around with this temperature right here. Make it more warm. I'm gonna make it more warm right here in the temperature of the entire white balance. I'm gonna come back into the layers real quick. I'm gonna come to this, let's see, let's go to the curves. I'm gonna bring these whites down just a little bit because I feel like I popped them a little too hard. Come back into the color wheels, drop the whites down a little bit. That's looking better, I think. All right, let's look back at this. Oh yeah, that looks clean. Let's get a nice frame right there. Now let's look at the difference. Let's cut this color grade entirely off back to log and look at the color grade. Very nice. Very nice. All right, here's a low light shot so we can look and you can see this color grade that I made for low light footage. That looks super good. I love that. All right, let's color this thing from scratch. All right, we got the color Finale Pro. Let's add in the conversion LUT. There we go. That looks very intense on this specific clip. We added the conversion LUT. It's pretty intense on this one. Off the rip, I'm gonna click into this contrast. I'm gonna bring the contrast up a little bit. Let's soften it up because honestly, with low light footage on the Pocket 3, I try to expose so the highlights aren't too blown out, but I make sure that I'm shooting where the blacks aren't completely crushed either. You kind of got to eyeball it and balance it out. But since you shoot in log, you can lift and drop highlights and blacks more to get it where you want it. So I'm gonna lift it up to, let's say, a -4. Let's see what this temperature looks like. Like you can make it more like white if you wanted to, but I kind of like the street lights being orange. I'm gonna bring it more to the orange side. Off the rip, tint, I'm gonna bring the tint to like a reddish, like that. That looks good as is. I'm gonna do a curves off the rip. I'm gonna click here, click here, click here, set these points, drop this down just a little bit. I'm gonna lift these blacks just a tad bit. Make it like a little bit of a softer, more like faded look. Add points here, here, and here. Let's see what we can tweak right here. I do kind of like the way this looks right here going this way, but I like the red as well. I'm gonna keep it about right there. Right here in the middle of these blues, you can go this way or you can go this way. I kind of like it coming this way a little bit because it makes the street look a little bit more closer to like a regular white balance. I'm gonna also grab this HLS curves. I'm gonna go to hue versus hue because I want to manipulate my colors on a couple different things. I'm gonna click this just to get points everywhere. But essentially I want to tweak these greens. So let's see if we tweak those greens right there. What I'm gonna do is right click on that, delete selected. So I can have a more wider spread right here, like this. And as you can see, it's affecting that sign. I'm gonna bring it more towards that color. I'm gonna right click this, delete that one. And this right here is really gonna affect it. I'm gonna bring it more towards the blue. I think it looks cool. Let's mess with these reds just a little bit. Bring it this way down a little bit. Yellows, let's make the yellows more orange. I'm gonna come to the saturation versus saturation. I'm going to make a point right here. And then I'm gonna bring this down. No, whoa, too much. Right click this, make it linear instead of smooth so that it just affects the blacks. I wanna make my blacks pure black. Not all the way though, actually. Let's bring it down about like that. So this makes everything that's black desaturated. This looks good. Now I'm gonna go back in and add something to the blacks and add some stuff to the highlights as well. So let's bring in the color wheels and let's see those blacks. Oh yeah, crazy. All right, go back to the regular. You gotta be very careful with this. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue. No, a little bit of like purplish into this right there. And then the highlights, let's go back to orange, back to some yellowish oranges. Boom, take that off. All right, let's take this all the way off, add it back on. Oh, that looks interesting. It looks nice. It's very stylistic though. You can see like there's some greens in those lights on the street right there because of the desaturation, but the oranges pop and you can see the little purple tint in there. This is an interesting color grade right here. Actually, I don't like that yellow right there. Let's go back in real quick and go to, let's do 6 vectors and let's drag it underneath the color wheels so that it applies underneath the color tweaks that I did to the blacks and the whites. And let's take this to the more orangish side. Also play with saturation of it. Bring it down just a tad bit, but I took it more orangish right there. All right, let's see what that looks like. This looks good. This looks solid. You can see a lot of detail in the blacks. It's not too far like gone. You can see details in the buildings. This is just a quick color grade for me. Obviously I would tweak more and I would get it to where I like to get it, but this is just me kind of having fun showing how I would color grade it to get the best out of it. So if we take that off, you can see it does not look good. You take it back on, this looks good. And you could even lift it up higher. Like you could go back in, you could actually add a color wheels and bring it to the bottom and lift up those blacks even more to make it a little bit softer. And that looks cool. Okay, so this right here, I'm gonna take the color grade I had added onto it. I shot this in normal color 10-bit. It's not shot in log, it's just shot in the normal color. I think that it is a little bit too sharp. I brought my sharpness down recently on the Pocket 3 just so it's not so sharp. Like this clip I feel like is a little bit too sharp, but anyway, it comes with the natural color. I think this looks good. I think these shots look good even without shooting it in log. And it's also 10-bit, so you can tweak it a little bit, and that's what I'm gonna show you how to do. So you don't have to apply a conversion LUT. You don't really have to add in a bunch of contrast if you don't want. Honestly, you could take contrast out. So we can push it like that, or we can bring it back. I'm gonna just say like, let's do like a -5. It just kind of softens that contrast up a little bit. I'm gonna come into layers. I'm gonna start with the color wheels. Let's make this bigger so we can see. You can see the blacks are already down, so let's bring in some mids. Get it to a point where it looks about right there. I'm gonna lift the blacks up again one more time. Maybe bring down the highlights by 1 notch. Okay, cool. That looks good. All right, I'm bringing the curves to a middle point. I'm gonna do this point, do this point. Let's see what we got here right here. I'm gonna punch that up a little bit. I'm gonna bring this down just a tad bit for a little punch. Bring these whites up a little bit, slightly, and then bring these down to like more of a gray point, just so ever so slightly. I'm gonna bring in an HSL curves. I'm gonna use this, and I'm going to push this to get the points. I wanna tweak these greens a little bit because I don't like my greens to look like that. So right click, delete right there. Then I'm gonna click this right here, and you can see it's tweaking that. I'm gonna bring that down to more of like the yellowish side. I'm also gonna delete this one, and then we can bring it right here like that. I'm gonna bring it down to the orangish yellowish side for those greens. These aquas, are gonna play around with these right here, like maybe bring that up just a tad bit. And the blues, okay, the blues, which way do we want to go with the blues? I'm gonna come down a little bit, bring these blues down a little bit, bring the purple affecting that color in the background to the blue side a little bit, down about right there. All right, let's see what this looks like. Off, on. We've done a little bit of work to it, nothing crazy. Honestly, the only other thing I would do to this is come to saturation versus saturation, make a point here, make this linear, not smooth, bring down the blacks, the saturation in the blacks a little bit. Then I'm gonna add another color wheels right here, and I'm gonna add something into the blacks. And I'm gonna add like maybe like a slight aqua tone. I'm gonna bring some oranges into, or yellow orangish into the mids, yellow orangish into the highlights. Bring those blues down in the shadows a little bit more over here. I might add another HSL curves over top of this and take this to linear. Let's bring this down just a little bit again, just to make those, you can see the grays and the blacks, just to make them a little bit less saturated. All right, let's see what this looks like. Honestly, take that off, on. It's just a slight stylistic look here, and I like it. You could do so many other things, but this is just a simple breakdown of how to kind of tweak those colors and get them to where you want. Probably come back in and tweak these greens because on the shirt, they're just a little bit too popping for me. And even like on that plant back there as well. So let's come to the hue versus saturation. Let's go right here at the yellow, make a point, and then come here aqua. And then let's make one right in the middle of that green. And let's change these to linear actually. Linear. That way it only affects what's in between instead of tweaking everything kind of slightly smoothly. So let's see, let's bring those greens down a little bit. That's better. And then come over here to the hue versus hue and tweak those around again. Let's maybe bring them down to there. Yeah, that's better. I like the way that's looking. You can see the blues on the shirt right there. I'm gonna bring them down about right there. That looks cool. That looks cool to me. Honestly, I had this on auto exposure. So the highlights and the shadows were going up and down. So this specific clip, I would rather lock my exposure off so that the color grade and the exposure was staying the same and I didn't have to go through and tweak. But honestly, like when I'm vlogging, I don't care how it looks. I feel like if you're rocking the Pocket 3 out, it's going to be up and down, especially if you're out and about vlogging. But getting it to a place where you like it and then just letting it rock that's cool. So this is the same color grade and it's kind of exposed different, but I think it looks good. No matter how like the camera's shifting the exposure or the white balance, it still kind of just looks good. So that's how I color the Pocket 3 footage, whether it's in D-Log or the normal color mode. My settings were in the beginning of the video. If you want me to make a full in-depth video of the settings, I will. And also, here's another video for you to watch if you're interested in more stuff from the Pocket 3 with me. Appreciate y'all watching. See y'all next time. Peace.